If you love our videos as much as we love shooting them, like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to keep them coming.
What role has Todd helped you in the development of Fast Track?
So Todd is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the parameters and specifications of the Mechanal grapple saws. I know a lot of guys are doing some homemade builds, or they're doing wallboard builds and different things like that. When it comes to questions about fluid parameters, what size lines you need, what will work best in what setting, Todd's the man to answer those questions. And when we got to developing our crane, he was a big benefit to us in determining that we definitely wanted to run 5/8 lines and not 1/2 inch lines. Watch the video, you'll see why. Thanks, Todd. There's hoses on this machine I've taken on and off 20 times. If I would have just left it alone from the beginning, yeah, I could have done it once, but I didn't know. And you know, I'm just a tree guy with the will to do it, and the people around me that are capable. And so we're trying to make the industry better. We're trying to make it safer. We're trying to make it where 140 some odd people don't have to die in a year doing tree work in America. And I mean, ultimately, that's the goal. It's the goal for the masses, for myself, and for my family and organization. That's the goal for us. You know, we want to go out and do more and work less and make more and be safer and spend more time with our families. You know, I got 2 little boys. I got a girl on the way. You know, it's all about getting home at a reasonable hour without limping when I get there. And so this is what it's all about for me. When my wife was 7 months pregnant with my oldest son, I was taking down a big old hickory tree, about a 20-foot log. Tree went up, went codominant, about 50 foot up. I was climbing about a 20-foot log, probably 20 plus inches in diameter. I roped it out, and when it swung out, when it came back, the bull rope that was holding that log caught a burl on the tree, and it fired it at me like a bow and arrow. It fired it at me, and it hit me right in my face, and it just absolutely crushed my face in. And I had fractures all around my orbital. I went instantly blind in the tree, couldn't feel the right side of my face. Had no idea really what happened at first. I just knew that I had been struck. My guys said that I went limp for a second, then I came back. I wasn't sure what happened. I just knew that I was hurt bad. My guys asked me, "You okay? You okay?" I said, "No, I'm not okay." I rappelled down. I didn't even let them finish lowering the log down. I remember passing it on the way down. Took my harness off, and they were all freaking out. Oh my God, you know, and I just kind of told them, "Hey guys, get away from me." You know, I didn't need to panic. I knew that I could walk. I could see out of my left eye. I couldn't see out of my right eye. I was like I was underwater. And thank God that there's a nerve that runs through your orbital. So when you do experience a zygomatic fracture or tripod fracture like I had in my face, a lot of times you go completely numb from it. So there really wasn't a tremendous amount of pain, just a lot of pressure. And anyway, I made the long trek from the backyard. There's a house on the river here in Jacksonville. Made the long trek from the backyard to the truck. looked at myself in the mirror, realized, yeah, I definitely have a serious head injury here. Made the phone call, said, hey, I need you to come get me. I need to get to the hospital. I didn't want to call 911. I didn't feel like it was going to be any faster for me to have an ambulance come and get me, for me to get a ride. So anyway, my dad actually came and picked me up, took me to the hospital. Sure enough, it was very evident there was a lot wrong with my face at the time. They did an X-ray. They determined that I was stable, and actually sent me home. And one of the things about it that was scary that I forgot to mention is when I was out by the truck waiting for my dad to come and pick me up. Like I said, it was a lot of pressure, and it had to have taken 5 minutes, but all of a sudden it was like someone turned the faucet on, and blood just out of my nostrils, just as fast as you could ever imagine blood flowing. And I thought, I might die right here. But what ended up happening, I guess, is a piece of bone had actually punctured into my nasal system, and for whatever reason, it took a few minutes to start bleeding. But anyway, I made it to the hospital. Obviously, I'm okay today. But they ended up waiting for all the swelling to go down, and they went back in there a few weeks later after I had my feeling back, thankfully. Just kidding. It was terrible. They went in there and did surgery. They went from inside my mouth. They cut from the front of my mouth to the back. They went up in there. They popped it back out. You can feel the screws in my face. There's titanium plates all on my face. My face was shattered so bad that my bones were overlapping on my mandible, on my jaw. I couldn't open my mouth wide enough to put like a little plastic spoon in my mouth to eat. I was trying to eat like some Cheerios or something, or maybe a SpaghettiOs, something soft. And I remember I couldn't open my mouth wide enough to get a spoon in there. So, I was a climber. I don't climb anymore. Ever since I got a knuckle boom, and if it can be done this way, why not do it this way, right? My wife loves it. I don't climb anymore. People ask me if I climb. Nope, I won't climb. I don't have to. I'm not going to take the risk if I don't have to take the risk. If you love to climb and that's what you're into, and, my hat's off to you. Good for you. I loved it for years. I was that dude. I could do it. I could do it twice. But I don't do it anymore, and I'm not gonna, because I don't have to. And it's stories like that. There was nothing I could have done differently there. What was I going to do, climb up and trim the burl off of the tree before I cut the log out? Lightning struck tree, split and everything. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Who would have saw that coming? So that's never going to happen to me running a knuckle boom. So I'm grateful that I have this piece of iron that I can put to work. The things that I really like about this knuckle boom, in comparison to my other knuckle boomer, obviously its footprint. We had both of them parked on the pad over there of our new shop not too long ago, and it was made for a really good comparison. You could see the truck took up the entire length of the pad. You could barely get it in there, and super wide. This thing was tucked in there next to it like a bobcat. It was like you could have put 2 or 3 more in the space where the truck was. So obviously not a lot narrower. It being on tracks takes away from the direct pressure, I guess, of the tires in a small area. You're putting all that weight in the area the size of a dollar bill, instead of spread out across each tracks to where it can distribute it properly. Just like anything, it all depends on how you operate it. You crest a piece of concrete that's protruding up out of the ground with these tracks, you're going to break it. There's no doubt about it. But if you properly crib and you lay out stuff the way you should, you can get away with not breaking concrete with this. With that truck, it doesn't matter if I lay 5 sheets thick of plywood, it's going to break it for the most part. More times than not, it breaks it. So that's one of the huge benefits about this machine, is that it's on tracks. It's a lot smaller footprint. Lengthwise is a lot smaller. Widthwise, it's a lot smaller. It's a lot more maneuverable. I can take and spin this thing around in a circle right here. I wouldn't want to. It would certainly tear up the gravel here, but the point is that I can. And if I wanted to take the time and make a 100-point turn right here and not tear up the gravel, I could, and it's not possible with a wheeled knuckle boom. So we've got a huge benefit there. And one of the other things that I really appreciate about running this machine over one that's mounted on a truck is that if I have a truck issue, I just go rent a truck. I go down to wherever that rents day cabs and rent one right now. I can have it in 2 hours. Whereas if a transmission goes out on my truck mounted knuckle boom, I'm dead in the water, you know. So there's less components required to run this machine. All else fails, you're in a lowboy and a semi truck, and you're still going to do tree work and make money. Whereas if you have a major mechanical failure on your semi truck with the exhaust fluid regulations nowadays and all the computerized everything, it's you know, I've had issues with that stuff, and I've had issues on my crane with the exhaust system from the federally mandated filtration system there. And so especially with a crane, something that has to stay idling, that is not really going through a cycle of duty like a regular truck would, the engines have a harder time compensating for that. The DEF systems don't burn off well. They often get clogged up, and they'll have issues because of the fact that the motor is running the crane, and the crane is running for long periods of time. So that's definitely one of the huge benefits of this machine. Obviously, it's dirty right now. We've been working on it. We've been getting after it in a major way. It's been quite the process, one thing after another, getting it right. One of the things that I appreciate about everything that we put into this machine is knowing that the easy way to do it now for the rest of these machines. You know, when we got involved with this knuckle boom, it was originally because I wanted to have the ultimate storm machine. I wanted to have the ultimate at-home use knuckle boom for going out and just slaying tree work. And you know, I'd rather work with a couple of really great guys than a couple great guys and a bunch of goofballs, just because we need extra manpower to do the stuff that has to be done in the normal commission of tree work. So when we discover with the knuckle booms that we can really cut the manpower down and let the machine do the work, and the machine doesn't have people problems. It's not gonna call in sick. It might break, but hey, you can fix it. It doesn't have any baby mama drama. It's not gonna show up drunk to work tomorrow. It does not have a drug addiction. It's definitely not gonna break into my truck and steal my wallet. This is tried and true, and you can call it what you want, but when I get done paying something off, it's mine. I can sell it. I can't turn around and sell an employee. Not that I would want to, but I can't. You know, you can invest in people, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. And if I invest into this machine has a value that I can get out of it. And so it's just a better platform for me to spend my money. It costs money to make money. A lot of guys say, oh, I'd never spend that on a machine, so on and so forth. Well, if you ever get to the size where you're spending millions of dollars a year in payroll, you might reconsider, because you're going to spend the money either way. You might as well spend it on something that's a better investment. So with that being said, when we first got into this machine, we got into it with the intention of getting into something that was going to be perfect for us and our regiment and what we do. What ended up happening was we discovered that while it was the perfect platform, it had the perfect core to it to be what we wanted it to be, it ultimately wasn't a tree machine. It wasn't ready for that. Yeah, it had fluid running to the jib, but not really with the right parameters. It wasn't ready to run a grapple saw. The remote setup needed to be changed. The programming in the crane for the safety systems was limiting flow of fluid to the grapple saw, to where when you're all the way stretched out, you wouldn't get enough fluid to be able to make a cut. These are all things that some very smart people with amazing talent and ability put in place to keep people safe operating cranes. And those are good things, but they don't apply well to the tree service with this particular application. If I'm at 99% capacity and I need to complete a cut, I can't have my fluid flow cut down to the point to where my chainsaw chain won't spin, or to where I don't have the power to rotate my grapple to pull the brush off of the other brush that it's laying into. These are all things that we knew were going to have to be changed. Because of my experience with knuckle booms, because I know about operating these grapple saws and what it takes and what the problems can be, I knew to ask these questions before I got into this machine. And ultimately what it ended up happening was we came to a point of collaboration with the the exclusive American importer for Gecko and Fosse, and with Fosse and Gecko themselves, and working alongside all of us together with a common goal of making this a repeatable process that's safe, that's functional, that will apply well to the tree service industry. So this is rendition 1 right here, and this is my crane. I'm not selling this crane to anybody. This is my crane to use. But the beauty of going through this whole process is that it gets to be repeated. The manufacturer is involved now. They know about the things that we've done to this crane. They're aware of the changes we've made and why we've made them. If there's some area where we made a change and we didn't necessarily do it in the perfect way, or we found out 5 steps into it, or 5 tries into it, this is the right way to do it, they're aware of that. And they're able to make those changes in factory from the manufacturer. Some of the stuff, it just makes sense, it'll still be done on this side of the water. But ultimately, these machines will be produced as tree machines. This is not the only 545T. There are more machines on the way right now as we speak that are going to get that extra letter at the end to indicate that it's a tree care package. And I'm involved in the process. I'll be out running this thing on a daily basis, weekly basis. I'll be running it in storms. I'll be running it in every application it could be running, giving it hell and finding out what's wrong with it so that we can make it better for the tree service industry. I'm not interested in flying concrete. I'm not interested in hanging trusses. I'm not interested in building, stuff downtown. I'm interested in tree work alone. And so I'm going to apply myself fully to this application, and my team around me is going to apply themselves fully to it. And so the tree service industry, you guys have my word that this thing is going to be tried and true. It's going to be tree tested and approved. If you have problems with this machine, if you purchase one of these and you're running into issues or you're running into roadblocks and things that need to be changed, I understand the tree world. I understand the industry. I'll be there as a resource for you. I'll be a guy that can actually affect change. I'm not going to tell you how to flash the computer and void your warranty. Here, we'll show you how to cut your exhaust system off. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about real changes that can be made, that can be updated, that can be a better crane for the tree industry to use. This is for us. This is for the tree service industry, and I'm here as a resource for you guys. We're giving it to you at our version of 100%, but that's not to say there's not little things that need to be worked out. That's not to say that there won't be requests made or upgrades made with time as people report to me things that they'd like to see changed in the machine. And so I just say that to say, with this machine, you have the ability to have what you want and to be able to change it how you want to change it for it to work for the tree service industry. My ear is open to you, and I'm able to make those changes. My people are able to affect the change from factory in this machine so that it will work best for our industry. I mean, look at this tree. Who could possibly take that tree down? If I knew a guy, I'd call him. No, but, so these are interesting times that we're in. I don't want to be too quick to call them tough because we may come out of this thing quickly. It may not really be anything more than something that has occupied our minds for some weeks. And it may be something that is quite a challenge, economically for the U.S. and the world because of these lockdowns, because of these just lack of ability to work for so many industries. So with that being said, we realize that not everybody's chomping at the bit to spend $500,000-$600,000 because they don't know what the future holds for them. And so we've spent quite a bit of time on my end and my professional team. We spent quite a bit of time doing research, doing market analysis, looking into how bad is bad and what does that mean for the tree care industry, specifically for crane assisted tree removal, crane rental to other tree services with operator. What does that mean? And when we went into those conversations, I laid it all out and I said, hey, you guys, if this doesn't make sense and we can't sustain through this and provide for our families and, you know, be in a safe, stable, secure setting for our children, fine. The boulder in the room is providing a safe, stable, secure household for myself and my family. It's the only thing that matters to me. So with that being said, we looked at it, we said if it's not tree work, if it's distilling alcohol and making hand sanitizer, that's what it is. It's whatever will actually work. It's not being so prideful as to say, well, this is what I've always done, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And it's unfortunate, but I know there's guys that are out there that are gonna just work for free until they can't afford to work for free anymore and then throw in the towel in it. It's gonna hurt the guys that do wanna do it long term because they're gonna be competing with prices that are, they're not sustainable, but that's part of the tree industry. We see people come and we see people go, but for the people that are staying, that know that the future holds hazardous tree removal, dangerous tree removal, dead tree removal over challenging structures and in challenging situations, for the guys that know that and understand it like I do. I remember in 2008 as a contract climber and owning a small tree service at the same time that I did multiples more crane work in that period of my life than I had done previously or even after things had started to come back in the economy. And the reason for that is because for the person that can still afford their mortgage, they're not gonna let the dead pine tree fall in their house. They have to take the tree down. They have to. Or even for the bank that's foreclosed on the home, that's taken the home back and they're looking to sell it, they have to take that tree down. And so being in a specialized position where you can provide that work at a reasonable price because you have a machine that allows you to work with one or two guys and you're not looking to, you know, spend $1,000 an hour in payroll, but rather be paying off an asset that you own eventually outright, that is a savvy business owner in times like this. There is no doubt about it. This is a very good time to buy money. You know, you go and you finance something and it's like walking into Walmart. You look at it on the shelf, how much is $500,000 going to cost me? Oh, it's going to cost me 625 grand. And times like this, where the economy is struggling and people aren't sure what's going to happen, these are the best times to finance things. If you know you're going to actually use it eventually and that you can sustain a business with it, this is the time to get it. So I realize it's easier said than done because I'm the guy on this side of the camera selling them. But we understand that the rubber has to meet the road somewhere and that people have to actually see that savings pass through to them to make it obtainable. So what we're doing is we're offering some special incentives. When we first released that we were going to be selling the 545, we offered a discount for the first handful of machines that we sold. 25 grand off right now it doesn't mean a whole lot for somebody that still has to turn around and put 10% down on the crane. So one of the biggest disadvantages of a track crane is that it doesn't drive itself to the job site. Now, I say it's silly because either way you have to have a truck, whether the crane's mounted to it or not, but people have a hard time getting past that mentally. They say, well, I gotta buy the crane and then after that I gotta buy a truck, or I have to buy a truck and a trailer. So what we're doing is we're offering some incentives where under the right circumstances, we are providing the truck built, able to carry the machine on the back of it, or we're providing the tractor trailer with trailer to haul the machine, and it's something that we're giving you with the machine. And so we're doing that with a really limited amount of purchases. I've got some 545s here in the United States that were already called for. People had said, hey, we're ready to move forward. Times being what they are, they've said, we're gonna put it on pause for right now. I'm sure they'll be back, but the machines are here now. And I know there's people like myself that can complete that purchase right now and that are smart enough to do it. So if you're that guy, now's the time. The money's cheap and you're gonna get a unit thrown in with the track machine that's going to allow you to haul it around. And like I said, we'll do it either as a truck with a deck that's able to haul the 545 on it, or we'll do it as a tractor trailer with a trailer behind that tractor that's able to haul the 545. So reach out to us, Knuckle Boom Transformers, Justin Hartman, find me on Facebook, message me, and we'll get you set up. I got a couple machines right here in the States ready to roll. Let me know.